Hello and welcome back to the She Can Ball podcast. I'm your host, Mahi Jariwala. Today we are joined by Raychel Shannon, a nutrition and sports recovery specialist. She's also played basketball at both the collegiate and professional level. Thank you so much for coming on today.
I'm so happy that you invited me to be on today. I'm very excited to dive into some of the topics we have on deck.
Yes.
Let's get started.
Yeah, so I really want to begin talking about your journey. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you first got into basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I started playing basketball, I think when I was in like fourth grade, kind of all the way up through, elementary school, middle school, high school. And I knew all along I had so I went to a skills trainer during like middle school and high school age level.
Okay.
And one practice I had an older girl who played overseas. She had played D1. She happened to come to the gym and kind of like work out with us. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I was like, oh my gosh, this girl plays in Germany? Like, I did not know that was possible.
Yeah.
And at the time, it just like blew my mind. And like from then on, when I heard about that, I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's my goal. Like, I'm not going to stop until I reach that. So that really sparked the inspiration and motivation in my mind to try to strive for that. So from there, I went to college. So I did play at the Division II level. So it was a little bit different process for me, kind of jumping from college to the professional level and playing overseas.
Yeah.
I kind of finished up my college career. It definitely didn't go as well as I wanted it to go, but I knew I wanted to still play basketball. So I kind of just, put my nose to the grindstone and just started attending different events, connecting with people, connecting with agents, connecting with other players that I know had done it in the past.
Awesome.
And, just reaching out, emails, phone calls, all that good stuff, just trying to, figure out a way to make it happen, basically.
Yeah.
And I had a team that took a chance on me in Spain. So I started my career there. Absolutely loved it. Had a great experience. Got to go back to Spain for a second year. I played in El Salvador for 2 weeks for like a playoff championship tournament that they had going. And then I finished up my last season in France. So I did get to bounce around to a couple different countries, which was really, really cool. I'm really grateful for that. And met some great people along the way that now I can go back to. And if I ever want to travel and go on vacation, I have people and friends that I can meet up with all around the world, which is really cool. But yeah, that's a little bit about my journey with basketball specifically.
Yeah, I love the way that you were kind of able to connect even though you played at D2 level, which doesn't always translate to playing pro. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it was definitely a non-traditional route, I think. But I think it just, it sends a message to any players out there that, maybe if you are playing, you don't make it to the Division I level. Not all is not lost. You can still continue to work hard, keep your eyes set on your goals. And if that's something you really want to pursue, the opportunities are still out there. So, just continue to connect with as many people as possible and just don't give up on your dream.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so how did you get into nutrition and recovery coaching?
Yeah, so I was studying exercise science in undergrad. I actually got to do my graduate degree also while I was playing, so I was really lucky to be able to do that. So I studied nutrition for my master's degree.
Yeah.
And just along the lines, I was always the girl that was in the training room a lot and just like watching the athletic trainers and their tape jobs and with the sim machine and with ice baths. Yeah. Like I was all into that. I was just totally geeked out. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So I was always looking for little like 1% advantages that I could give myself.
Yeah.
So that was what I turned to. So I said, hey, how can, I figure out ways to recover my body better so I'm not feeling as sore from conditioning workouts or just the intensity of practice in general.
True.
And then through my classes, I was learning different things about nutrition. And while looking back on it, I didn't necessarily follow it very well at the time. I started to learn and I started to, approach the way I was eating a little bit differently. And just like year by year, I think I improved a little bit better. And I think it really extended the longevity of my career in the long run because I was able to, sustain through some like chronic injuries and bounce back from those. And I think that just fueling better and really taking proper care of my body helped in a major way with that.
And so you talked about having some injuries. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So, I think this is something that every person that plays basketball or any sport in general, it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
No matter how much, prevention you do, there's just, like crazy freak things that happen just from the sport itself. So I had a few throughout my career. I had a knee tear with my PCL in high school. That I went through. So that was like a freak accident. I had a girl land on my leg when it was like twisted weird. So yeah, that was definitely a big one. And that actually never got repaired either. I had to work on just strengthening my muscles up around it to really stabilize the knee. And it's something that I still work on even to this day. I guess it's like 10 years later now. Woo! It's been a while, but yeah. So there was that one. Then I think really before I got into more of a balance and really focusing on recovery, in college, I had a back injury. So I fractured my back. So it was like a chronic back injury. So it was just the repetitive pounding that really added up and resulted in a back fracture. So I think that was when I really got the wake up call to say, hey, I'm working really hard and I'm finding success from working hard.
Yeah.
But now, my body gave me a message like, hey, you overdid it here. So it was like, how can now I find ways to still push and improve myself on the court while also taking care of my body so I'm not going to be sidelined and taken out of the game that I love so much. So I think that was a pivotal moment in college when I had that happen. And that was really, I think, the major turning point for me and what really sparked the passion behind what I do now.
That's amazing. I love that kind of mindset that you had during those injuries. I think a lot of people kind of look at it, it's like a setback and things like that, but that's awesome. You said that you are working on strengthening your knee. I was having this conversation with one of my teammates today about ankle braces, and everyone has like a different approach to them. And I know a lot of kids just wear these certain ankle braces for games, just for protection. I'm just curious, what is your kind of take on those?
Yeah, I could definitely weigh in on that. So my personal philosophy with those, so I think that they are just a brace. So the primary thing you want to do is really just build up the strength and the balance within the ankle. Yeah. So things you can do to improve that is to be barefoot as much as possible. So take your shoes off, take your socks off. You can do a lot of your strength workouts and strength training actually barefoot, like in the gym, as long as you're not going to drop a weight on your foot or something like that. So just be careful of that. I don't want to hear anybody do that after I give you this advice. So watch your toes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to just start getting your foot strength back up. It's the foundation of your body. So your big toe is actually really huge for like acceleration, deceleration, just controlling your change of direction as a basketball player. So if you can start to turn that toe back on by taking your shoes off, because when you have your shoes on, it's actually almost like a coffin. Like it's not allowing your foot to really feel and grip the ground and function in the way that it's meant to function.
Yeah, true.
So that would be number one. Just try to be barefoot as often as possible. And the more you do that and the more you strengthen up that area, you're going to decrease the chances that you will have an ankle injury. So I would definitely recommend the ankle strengthening first, so you get to the point where you don't need the braces.
Yeah.
Of course, if you do have a sprain, like I said, freak things happen. You can use the brace just to kind of help ease you back into play. But I would always recommend just strengthen it up and try not to use the brace if possible.
Okay. And what would you say is important for an athlete's pre-workout routine?
Yeah, so I would say the number one thing is hydration. So a majority of athletes actually show up to workouts and games already in a dehydrated state. We're just not drinking enough fluids throughout the day. So that's going to be huge. That's definitely going to impact your workout and your ability to, both physically and mentally be at your best.
Okay.
So what you're going to want to do, you want to shoot for a goal of drinking half of your body weight in water throughout the day.
Okay.
And then within the workout, you're going to need to actually drink even more than that. So let's say we have a 150-pound athlete. You want to drink 75 ounces of water a day. That's your goal. So let's say you got a typical, the plastic water bottles you get in the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
That's about like 16 to 20 ounces. So you're going to want to drink about 4 of those just consistently over the day to set yourself up. So, I'm starting my workout in a hydrated state.
Yeah.
I'm sweating, but I have those stores built up. So it's not going to affect my performance during the workout. I would say that's probably number one. Another factor to consider is your fueling. So your nutrition pre-workout. So just a general guideline for that. You're going to want to eat a bigger meal between 1 to 4 hours prior to the workout. So this is going to vary based on the individual. So it's important to start to develop the relationship with your body where you're really listening to it.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, say, you eat a big meal an hour before and you're a person that's not used to that and can't do that. And you feel like your stomach is not feeling right. You bubble guts, like you're like, oh,
yeah.
You got to be able to start to make those correlations to, hey, it's because I ate this thing, and try to pinpoint those things out.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is you're just pushing that meal back earlier. But on the flip side, you don't want to eat too early where now your energy levels are being affected. So if you're shooting between that 1 to 4 hour window, you should be okay for the most part. And then just personalize the time down more to what works for you. So within that meal, what we want to be thinking about are the main macronutrients. So you're definitely going to want carbohydrates on your plate for a high intensity day. You're going to want half of your plate to be carbohydrates. So you're splitting up the plate. So half are carbohydrates. Good carbohydrate sources are like rice, quinoa, sweet potato, couscous, pasta, those types of things. For the carb.
Okay.
Then we're going to be looking at a protein source. So that's going to be a quarter of your plate is the protein. So usually, about a palm size of protein serving is good, a good gauge to go by.
Yeah.
And then those sources are going to be, like your chicken, fish, like salmon, different types of meats, things like that for protein. Vegetarian options like tofu and beans, things like that. And then the last little quarter of your plate is going to be color, which is vegetables. Okay. So you always want to try to load up on vegetables as much as possible for the nutrients, just to help there too. And then a little thumb size portion of healthy fats. Healthy fats are really important as well. So this is going to be good quality oils. So like olive oils, avocado oils, maybe even just avocado. Eggs are healthy fats. So these are really important to help you reduce inflammation. So you'll kind of feel a little bit less sore overall. Yeah. And your body will feel fresher. So that's an idea there with the big meal. And then about 30 minutes before, if you do find you tend to get dips in energy during the workout, you can eat a smaller snack. That might be a good idea. So, just little things like easy to digest. So like a piece of fruit, a small smoothie is really good, easily digestible. A healthy granola bar that doesn't have a lot of ingredients in it, like a handful of nuts. Little things like that you can kind of pack and just easily have to kind of hold you over throughout the workout.
Awesome. I'll definitely be adding some of those into my own pre-workout routine. Talking a little bit more about pre-workout routines, what do you suggest that players should do to kind of warm up their bodies before they go work out?
My advice for that would be you should definitely establish your go-to routine. So it should be dynamic movements. So definitely focusing on range of motion, kind of as a basketball player, hips, your hips are huge. Yeah. So you're going to have really tight hips. The longer you play, the tighter they're going to get. So start working on them now. That's my advice. Because you just use your hips for everything, and it's going to control your knee health, your ankle health, everything's going to be your back. So everything's going to be stemming from your hips. So you're going to want to get some nice leg swings in on the wall, some hip circles, some different glute activations. You could put like bands around your ankles and kind of do like lateral slides with the bands, and some forward steps with the bands, backward step with the bands. But I think overall, it's just really important to nail down a routine that works for you and to stick with it and just duplicate it before every single workout and every single game. And like it's also a mental thing too. So it's like, this is my signal.
Yeah.
I'm snapping my body into like focus mode. Where I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm confident going into my workout, and it just gets your mind right to be able to perform and really maximize it. So I think that's the most important thing. It doesn't have to be the longest routine in the world. It can be, a good 8 to 10 minutes. It's got your body warm, it's got your body moving. I don't recommend static stretching beforehand, just because studies have shown that can lead to injury because you're stretching the muscle out, and it can make it more susceptible to tears.
Yeah.
So just, the good fluid, I'm moving my body through the range of motion that's going to be going through in the game, and just preparing it for the fast twitch movements.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think a lot of coaches, even they put a lot of emphasis on stag movements before games or whatever. But yeah, I think we need to kind of steer away from that.
Yeah, it's definitely a older school mentality. I think it's something that a lot of people got used to, and it's one of those things people just keep doing, and they don't ask why or where did this come from or what's the science behind it.
Yeah.
But if you do, you read the research now, and it's totally shifting towards dynamics. So I think that's definitely really important.
And so do you have any advice for post-workout routines and what people should be doing after their workouts?
Yeah, so after is the time that you can get into a little bit more of the stretching. So this is a good time to grab your foam roller. You can go through all the major muscle groups, just kind of roll them out. Good myofascial release. So it's basically like a self-massage. So, this is telling your muscles to kind of shut off, allowing them to recover.
Yeah.
You're putting your body into the more rest and digest state rather than the fight or flight that you were just in during practice.
Yeah.
So you're helping calm down your nervous system at the same time, which is going to be really important to maximize that recovery. So yep, a good time for foam rolling. A good one to do is the lacrosse ball under your feet, kind of roll it out. Because like I was saying before, your feet are your foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get those a little looser, it definitely helps everything else up the chain. So yeah, those two are really good. If you are a person that likes stretching afterwards, I would definitely recommend that's a good time to do it. If you grab a band, kind of stretch your body out a little bit. And then you can also take advantage at this point of any hot or cold therapy. So if you do feel like you have a lot of, uncontrollable like soreness or inflammation, you can choose, to take an ice bath, to ice a certain area. Or, if you have kind of like stiff joints, that type of thing, then you can opt for heat, like a heat pack. Or if you want to take like a warm bath at home or something like that, would be good too. So those are things related physically to the body. I would say definitely with eating, you don't have to eat right away. So don't feel like you have to stuff your face right after. I think that's a common misconception too. So right after you finished, working out and exercising, your blood flow is still in your muscles. So it's not ready for digestion yet. So you do have about, 30 minutes to an hour time period to kind of let your body settle back to normal before you can grab a snack or get a larger meal. And then the protein and carbs are really going to be key after this as well, just to refuel the energy stores with the carbs, and protein for building the muscles back up is going to be key too.
Okay, cool. And so this is kind of random, but I know that a lot of girls and athletes in general always get sore the next day, after usually a hard workout. What would you say, for either preventing that, or when you are sore, what do you recommend? Because some people say, oh, like when you're sore, you still need to work out or whatever, or like, that's the best time to work out when you're sore. Mm-hmm. And some people are like, okay, that's a great day to take a rest day. So what is your kind of...
Yeah, so that's huge. That's a big one. That's a really good question. So what I would recommend is, I think sometimes with recovery, we think of like, hey, I'm going to kind of rest and relax and like lay on the couch and just chill out, watch some Netflix, stuff like that. And my recommendation would be like that, yes, that's good in moderation, but you also want to have an active recovery. So what that means is you're not pushing yourself, of course, to the intensity level that caused the soreness, but you're working your muscles through some of those movements, getting the blood flow going, getting the lymphatic system going, which is going to get rid of some of those toxins that are causing the soreness. Great things you can do to get that done is actually, if you have access to a pool, this is one of the greatest hacks of all time. If you can go into a pool, just into the shallow end, do some basic movements in the shallow end. So run around from side to side, do some lateral defensive slides in the pool, do some leg swings in the pool, do some high knees, some butt kicks, just like light kind of working through those ranges of motion. Mm-hmm. And when you get out of the pool, I promise if you try this, you will be amazed at how good your legs feel just from the light resistance of the water and working through those motions. It really, really, really helps with the soreness levels. So that would be my number one recommendation to try if your legs are feeling sore. Okay. If you don't have access to a pool, then the second thing I would say to do is try a contrast shower. And what that is, you're going to rotate between hot and cold water. So you're going to turn it as hot as you can stand for about a minute, then you're going to turn it as cold as it can go for a minute, and you're going to rotate back and forth 5 times, and you're going to finish on cold. So it sounds really intense. The cold part, I'm not going to lie, can suck a little bit, but that really just stimulates your system to just flush itself out, and you'll feel better after that.
Perfect. So kind of talking about recovery, how important is recovery in basketball?
So I think it's huge. I think it's the missing piece for a lot of athletes, to be honest. I know for me, it was a missing piece for a lot of my career. And it's really why I do what I do, because I want to pass down all the knowledge that I've learned and accumulated and just pass it down to the younger generation. So I think I had really great coaches. I had great skills trainers. I had great strength coaches. And the one missing piece, I was never taught how to fuel my body, how important it was. I was never taught what active recovery was or how to really take care of my body. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really like a 50-50 split. So I'm training really hard and effectively 50% of the time. And the other half, I'm balancing it out and taking care of my body just as much. So it's huge. I think it's everything. I think the way that players are training today is at such a high level. We're really pushed. Like, you got to go hard 24/7, 365. There's another girl out there that's outworking you. Like, you have to keep pushing and pushing. And that's going to lead eventually to burnout. You're going to feel unmotivated. You're going to feel tired, sore, fatigued all the time. I went through that really badly in college, and, you lose the love for it a little bit. And it doesn't have to be like that. If you balance it out and you take care of yourself, you won't reach that point. You won't reach that plateau. And if you do continue on and, just kind of ignore it and try to push through, then it can eventually lead to injury. So I think that's why it's really important, because you want to take care of yourself just so you can continue to do what you love. You can continue to enjoy it, and you can do it for a long time.
Yeah, so true. So like you said, in past episodes, I have discussed, the importance of taking rest and not overdoing it. So what is your take on rest days? And I know that some people, they have like a rest day every week, and then others kind of just take it when they need it. So
I don't think that there's a one size fits all answer for this. I think it really depends on what your schedule looks like. So if let's say you're a high school athlete right now, you have practices, 6 days a week. You're in preseason right now. You got a lot of conditioning workouts going on. a lot of new things. Maybe you're new to the team. Mentally, you're like trying to, learn some new plays. You're trying to learn the new drills the coach is throwing at you.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to need to, on the weekends and the time that you do have to yourself, you're going to need to mentally recover as well as, do some of the active recovery things that I had mentioned. So, just really carving out that time for yourself and realizing that really matters and that's really important. And I know it's tough to walk into the gym and to diligently, do your own workout, or to diligently do the foam rolling after practice, or to diligently turn the cold shower on and turn the water to cold. And it's really tough, but we're athletes and we live for challenges. So we live for, pushing ourselves past our comfort zone. So you just have to kind of approach it like that and say, hey, I challenge myself to make that sprint time and make that suicide. I'm going to challenge myself to, sticking to my recovery routine and doing things that might not feel too great in the moment, but I know that they pay off and I feel better in the long run.
Yeah. And that's so true. How you say, whenever we talk about succeeding, we're always like, you have to be in the gym, you have to work hard, but they don't realize is there's so much other stuff that goes into being a successful athlete than just being in the gym for, countless hours.
Yes. Yep. I think the mentality definitely needs to shift a little bit, and to just know hey, I did my foam rolling session and that counts as quote unquote working hard. I'm still adding to my, I guess, athletic ability. I'm still adding, I'm improving myself, but it's just a different approach and it's a different way than just doing the same thing, in the gym.
For sure. Yeah. I'm kind of going back to nutrition here, but how do you think athletes should be hydrating during their workouts?
Yeah. So for this one, I would say most athletes have the knowledge or understand that electrolytes are important. So you're losing your electrolytes through sweat. So these are things like sodium, potassium, magnesium, chloride, those types of things. So I actually don't recommend Gatorade. I think Gatorade did a really phenomenal, blah, blah, blah. I can't talk. I think Gatorade's screwing me up here. Gatorade's haunting me. I think Gatorade did a really phenomenal job of their marketing and their endorsements with different athletes and making it look like this is the ultimate drink. You have to have this to be a good athlete.
That's so true. Yes.
And it's just not true. If you really look at the ingredients and the label and the things that are included, it's like liquid candy. So yeah, it's just basically really high in added sugar, artificial food dyes, processed additives, all the stuff that you really don't need to optimize your nutrition. So I think there are some really good alternatives. So what I recommend for my athletes to get those electrolytes, which you can do. So in plain water, you can add mineral-rich salts. So some examples of those. So these aren't your traditional table salt. Those are processed.
Okay.
So it's going to be the Himalayan sea salt. So those are the pink sea salt crystals. I know they've gotten kind of popular lately.
Yeah.
So that, or a good Celtic sea salt, and you can find these on Amazon. So Celtic is CELTIC.
Okay.
Those are really good, straight from the earth, really high in minerals. You could just add a pinch or two of that salt into your water. You won't be able to taste it. And if you're dehydrated, it's actually going to taste good. The salt will taste good to your taste buds.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, that's an easy hack. Coconut water, if you like the taste of that, is actually good. It's really high in potassium specifically. So for cramps, you're not going to cramp up if you're drinking coconut water because the potassium levels are so high. And then another good brand I like is called Nuun tablets, NUUN. And these are just a good sports drink alternative because they still have that nice fruity flavor, but without all of those ingredients that you don't want. So you just drop them in, they kind of fizz up, and then they have a nice taste to them. So that's a good alternative for those that have picky taste buds.
Okay. Yeah, because I think I have to drop the Gatorade because usually what I do is I have water and then I'll have like a supplement. Sometimes I have used coconut water or I'll use like Gatorade or something on the side as well. And I kind of, everyone always like judges me because I always have like one big water bottle and like a little small water bottle of something else.
Yeah, I would say definitely the second best thing if you have the Gatorade, like you said, it kind of like if you dilute it or like, mix it in with water is definitely, it cuts down on the sugar at least a little bit. So
Yeah, for sure.
So, what is something that you think female athletes overlook in nutrition?
yes, so definitely the number one thing I see with basically every female athlete I work with is that they're not eating enough. They are under fueling, especially after their workouts. For some reason, I find that a lot of female athletes think that, they have to eating healthy or eating right means you're eating like a salad or you're eating a really light meal. And that's the opposite. That's the complete opposite. So I'm always just drilling it into everyone's heads. You're so active. You really need to take care of your body. You really need to fuel your body, and just replenish everything. You're just straight up, you're not optimizing your workout if you don't fuel properly afterwards. You won't make the most out of it. Your body won't be able to continue the constant grind. Mm-hmm. And it's just so important. So I would say for any female athlete out there, just really try to aim for, the 3 meals a day, some snacks in between, especially when you're running between classes, just make sure you think ahead and plan ahead a little bit to throw, some snacks in your backpack and things like that. So if you think you're eating a lot, my guess is you're probably still not eating enough because you're so active.
Yeah.
So that would be the number one thing across the board. And then I think just knowing that those 3 macronutrients are all important. So the carbs, the protein, and the fats are all essential in your fueling plan. Each one is just as important as the other. So I know sometimes these are like demonized in the media, like one's not good, like protein is always like the queen of everything. So there's definitely a lot of back and forth, but the carbohydrates, these are what are going to keep you going energy-wise and sustain you. You absolutely need them or you're going to be gassed in your workouts. The protein is important, but I think for the most part, I think athletes do get enough. It's about getting quality sources and making sure you're getting all the essential amino acids, which are the different building blocks of the protein. So if you're eating whole food sources, those are definitely the ones we want to shoot for. And then if you can't get enough through that, then you can opt for a protein supplement. But I would definitely, shoot for the whole food sources first. And then fats are so important too. These are ones that I always have to hype up because fat, you kind of like cringe when you hear that. But no, fats are so important. There's a difference between healthy fats and quote unquote non-healthy fats. So you got to get the omega-3s. So from like fish, different types of seeds have healthy fats, eggs have healthy fats, different dairy products like yogurt, those type of things. Mm-hmm. Just so important. Healthy oils, like I said before, for the inflammation in your body and just keeping that inflammation down, keeping your brain really healthy so you're thinking clearly, you don't have brain fog. So really just understanding that all 3 work together and all 3 are just as important as the others.
Yeah, I mean, I think this quarantine has like I've been eating a lot more because I remember like it started in 6th grade where I would just get tired like really easily. So like after I'd come back from basketball, I'd be completely exhausted. And so I used to start taking naps a little bit before and stuff. And I've been doing that, I think, even up until when I was practicing in 8th grade, because my body would just get so tired I would need to do it. But recently, especially during quarantine, I've been making fun breakfast with like avocado and egg and toast and all that stuff. So I've been eating more and I feel like my body, like I don't need to sleep as much anymore, Yeah. Like I feel so much more energized. And I remember like when this first started happening, my doctor's like, you need to eat more protein. And I tried, but I don't know. I feel like my appetite has gotten so much bigger now and I'm eating more and it's working.
That's good. I'm glad you noticed the difference. So there we go. We got our first testimonial. It's proof. The proof is in the pudding.
Exactly, yeah. And I was so confused. And then it was really funny because my mom was like bringing it up and she was like, man, you come down every 2 hours. And I was like, man, I do. And then I kind of tied it all together. So
Yeah, that's good. You had that aha moment.
yeah. So lastly, I always like to ask this question because it's a huge reason of why I do this. It's to support female athletes and female basketball players. What do you think needs to be done for women's basketball to gain the respect that it deserves?
That is such a great question. That's something I love. And I just think back, to back when I was in high school and college. It's sad to say, but the support of the WNBA was just not there. I remember, so I was always just obsessed with basketball, so I watched it. And I would talk to my teammates about it, and they'd be like, you watch that? Like, why? And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
So crazy to me. I'm like, how can you play a sport and not watch the women at the professional level?
Exactly.
It blew my mind. And I see that starting to change now, and I just am here for it. I love it. I think that it's just, about females supporting each other. I don't know that we've always done a good job of that in the past, and I really want to work to change that. So that's just an example. So, when we're buying jerseys, maybe we're buying Sabrina Ionescu instead of like a LeBron James jersey.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we can't appreciate the NBA, but I think that our girls deserve to be, put on a pedestal so much more than they are. They're amazing role models. Some of them have their own businesses on the side. They're playing overseas. They're coming back. They're playing in the WNBA.
Right.
They have families. It's just amazing the lives that they live. I think, we can support them on social media by following them, sharing things that they do, just trying to, spread the word. And I think when people do see those backstories, so, we see LeBron James with like Taco Tuesday and stuff like that, and then all you're relating to him more. I think the more that the general public knows about what these women do, they'll start to respect and appreciate them more. So, like I said, just sharing their stories on social media, supporting them through like jersey sales, showing up to games. Like I also coach a basketball team as well. So I'm an assistant coach.
That's very cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So on top of that, and, just bringing my girls team to watch like the Villanova girls play or to watch a WNBA game. I think there's little things that we can do to support each other better and just build each other up a little bit more, for sure.
That's amazing. I like that. That was a really great answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And I really love what you're doing. I love your mission. I'm so glad you're giving females this platform. And I think you're definitely a part of the change and starting to build and support each other more. So good job. Keep it up.
Thank you. Yeah, and you dropped so much knowledge today. I hope they were able to pick all of it up.
Yeah, some of it was dense, so I hope it didn't get too technical, but
I think it was perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And that's the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I learned so much, and I hope you guys did too. Make sure that you are following us on Instagram at she.can.ball, and I will see you all next time.